Okay, first of all, Happy New Year and Happy Sankranti Pongal to everyone. Okay, so like during the last 1 month or so, I have seen a lot of people asking a lot of questions saying, where to buy a certain token. So whenever I've given an alert, a lot of questions are like, hey, where do I buy it? Like it's not available in Coinbase, it's not available in Binance. Then when I tell them it's available on PancakeSwap, or some other swap. A lot of people did not know what that was. And a lot of people really did not get the fact that like, why do we need multiple exchanges, multiple accounts and all that stuff. Okay. So I thought it would be good if I take a session and clearly explain what are the different exchanges, what are different types of exchanges, why would you need multiple exchanges, why are all why can't we buy and sell in a single exchange as we do for stocks. Okay, so I'll try to address all those questions, and I'll also show you how to trade on decentralized exchanges. So this is a new concept for people who have been in trading in stocks. There is no concept of decentralized exchange. Okay, they only know an exchange, and you can buy pretty much all the stocks. Almost all the exchanges, give you an option to buy all the stocks and sell all the stocks. But crypto is a little different. Okay, so that's why you would need multiple exchanges. Okay, let me share my screen and just walk you through some differences between different types of exchanges. Okay, so let me know if everybody can see my screen.
Yes, Rajesh, I can.
Okay. So when it comes to crypto, okay, there are basically two types of exchanges. Okay, first one is called centralized exchange, another is called decentralized exchange. Okay, I'm sure majority of the people are familiar with decentralized exchanges, and very few people are familiar with decentralized exchange. Okay, so what is a centralized exchange? So if I have to talk in terms of like stock exchanges, okay, so you have TD Ameritrade, you have Robinhood, okay, you have Fidelity. There are like so many exchanges. These are all you can call it as centralized exchange. So similarly, for crypto also, you have Coinbase, Pro.Coinbase, KuCoin, FTX, okay, and there are like so many other. Okay, so these are like you can compare the centralized exchanges to your regular stock exchanges. Okay, they are very similar. Okay, so for example, in a stock, if you want to buy a stock, you open a exchange account. Okay, it could be Robinhood, it could be TD Ameritrade. You deposit your money, you deposit your USD into that. People in US, they deposit USD, people in India, their currency. So you deposit the money and you start trading. You buy your stocks, you sell your stocks, you do all sorts of things. But the thing is, the exchange is controlled by a set of people. Okay, for example, TD Ameritrade, it's an organization. Okay, it's controlled by TD Ameritrade organization. Robinhood is an organization, it's controlled by. So all the accounts and everything, they are totally controlled by them. I mean, of course, you can log in, log out, buy, sell, and all that stuff, but they have full authority. The organization which is owning the exchange, they have the full authority on your accounts or your balances. Okay, if they want, they can freeze your balance. If they want, they can they can stop you from trading or buying or selling. It's totally, they don't do it, but do they have that power? Yes, they wield that authority. Okay, that's why it is called centralized, because it is controlled by certain set of people. Okay, similarly in crypto also you have centralized exchange, Coinbase, KuCoin. So you need to create your username and username. You have to provide a username and a password, create your login. In some cases you have to provide your KYC. Okay, all sorts of things you need to do. Then they allow you to buy, trade, sell, or whatever you want to do with cryptos, you can do that. Okay, so that is a centralized exchange, okay, where there is a central authority who is the owner of that particular exchange, okay, controlling it. Okay, and you create your create your own logins. then you go and trade. Okay, but all the crypto you buy, okay, for all the crypto you buy, it still stays on the exchange. So similar, like let's say you in stock market also. Let's say you put $100,000 and buy, like let's say Apple or Tesla. You cannot withdraw those stocks into your personal bank account or anything. It's your account on the exchange. It's your account. It stays in that account. But there is no way like, okay, I'll take off the stocks out of the exchange and keep it somewhere. You don't do that. Similarly, centralized exchange also, all your assets, crypto assets, are always there on the exchange. You generally keep it on the exchange. You can always withdraw, unlike stocks, which you always have to keep it on the exchange. Crypto, you can, like let's say you bought BTC or you bought Ethereum on a centralized exchange. You don't have to keep it on that exchange. Okay, you can withdraw into your own wallet. Okay, and you can carry it anywhere. Okay, so that's one advantage of crypto. But generally, a centralized exchange, you generally don't do it, because when you do trading on centralized exchange, you have to buy, you have to sell. So there are if you withdraw, then there is some fee, then again you have to deposit. So there are like lot of factors, okay, which based on which you keep your assets on centralized exchanges. Okay. Now, what is a decentralized exchange? Okay, a decentralized exchange is, there is no central authority. There is no one controlling that exchange. It's still an exchange, but there is no central owner. Okay, it doesn't belong to an organization. Okay, similarly, nobody, you don't have to create an account. I mean, you don't have to provide your details, like what is your name, which country you are, where you are staying. You don't have to give any of the details. Okay, it's complete. You can be completely anonymous. Okay, and nothing stays. Like for example, if you buy BTC or Ethereum on Pro.Coinbase, it stays on that exchange. But when you buy on a decentralized exchange, nothing stays on the decentralized exchange. It is with you. You have the full control. Okay, so you can buy on one decentralized exchange and go and sell it on some other decentralized exchange. So nothing stays on the exchange. There is no owner. There is no central authority, and whatever assets you buy, if you buy, it is in your wallet. If you sell, it goes into someone else's wallet. Okay, so that's a decentralized exchange. There is no central authority. Okay, so these are the two types of exchanges. Now, which exchanges, like why should we use which exchange? Like when should we use a centralized exchange? When should we use a decentralized exchange? Okay, what are the pros? What are the cons? Okay, now for very early traders, people who are really, really early, like let's say you started just now, like or a month ago or like 2 months ago. Okay, if you are new, then starting your trade with a centralized exchange is a very easy thing to do. Okay, because most of the people who want to get into crypto are familiar with stocks. Okay, and centralized exchanges are very similar to your stock exchanges. Okay, so they provide you a very easy access to buy and sell crypto. Okay, so what are the advantages? Okay, fiat on ramp. What do you mean by fiat on ramp? Okay, so a centralized exchange provides you to buy the cryptocurrencies with your local currency. So for example, if you are in US, okay, you can deposit US dollars and you can buy with US dollars. Similarly, if somebody is there in Canada, okay, they can deposit Canadian dollars and they can buy crypto. Okay, if someone is in like India, they can deposit INR and they can buy and sell crypto. Okay, that is nothing but fiat on ramp. Means you take your fiat currency and you start your journey with crypto. Okay, so centralized exchanges provide that facility. Okay, you can buy with your local currency. Generally, the transaction fees is very less. Okay, so every centralized exchange has its own fee strategy. It's anywhere between like 0.5% to 0.75%. These are the general transaction fees. Okay, the fees is very less compared to others. The other advantage is high liquidity. Means like there are a lot of buyers, there are a lot of sellers. So if you want to buy, you can buy it. Okay, and if you want to sell also, there are people who can ready to buy. So it's like high liquidity is way more. Okay, and then again you can have limit orders, you can have stop limits, like whatever traditionally stock exchanges provide, more or less everything. You can do it on centralized exchange. Okay, chain agnostic. Okay, now what is chain agnostic? So basically in crypto, okay, different tokens are on different chains. Okay, now how do I describe a chain? Okay, to put it in simple terms, like for example, you have, like, take mobile phones. Okay, so you have an Apple ecosystem, you have an Android ecosystem, and maybe like if you go to like Amazon also has an ecosystem. Okay, so these you can call it like that. In cryptocurrency also you have different chains. Okay, you have like Ethereum chain, you have a Binance Smart chain, you have a Phantom chain, you have a Polygon chain. So like, and the ecosystems in your mobile phones. Okay, every cryptocurrency is also comes in different chains. Okay, some tokens are available on Ethereum only, some tokens are available on Binance Smart Chain only, some tokens are available on Matic, some tokens are available on Phantom. So these are different chains. Okay, but for when you are buying and selling on a centralized exchange, you don't care what chain it is. Okay, it doesn't matter. Like you can buy a Ethereum token or a Phantom token or like a Binance Smart Chain token, everything with the same account you can buy. You don't have to differentiate. Okay, so it's chain agnostic. So the user does not need to know what chain it belongs to. Okay, as I said, it's simple and easy to use because most of the people are from stocks background. It's simple and easy to use. Okay, and there is no learning curve. Okay, so these are the advantages of centralized exchanges. Okay, now, like, okay, what are the disadvantages? Okay, so generally all the projects which come onto a centralized exchange, okay, they are very late. I mean, what do I mean by late? Okay, so let's say a project is launching today. So let's say you know about a project. So project XYZ. Okay, so you know this is going to be a very good project. Okay, and it has a lot of potential. And in the long run, it's going to, like, increase tenfold. You know that, you have that information. Okay, somehow you might be you know about the project, you read about the project, or you strongly believe in that project. Okay, so generally, if you know about that such a stock, okay, what you do, you try to buy it early so that before the price appreciates a lot, you want to buy it early. Okay, similarly for crypto also you would do the same, right? If I know that something is going to increase, let's say I know tomorrow Luna is going to become $800, so obviously I'll buy it today because it's only $80. Similarly, if you know about a project early, you want to get into it early. Okay, but the thing is, by the time the project is available on a centralized exchange, it's already too late. Okay, so it's already, the price has appreciated a lot. Okay, and you can see, like, if you followed my alerts, I'd say, hey, this token is going to be listed on Coinbase, so it's going to increase. So buy now before it listed on Coinbase and sell it as soon as it's listed on Coinbase. Why? Because still there are a lot of there are more new people who are only trading on centralized exchanges. They cannot buy it on decentralized exchange. Either they don't know, or they don't want to, or the learning curve is too steep. Okay, so they wait for the token to be listed on centralized exchange. So, but by the time it lists on centralized exchange, it's already too late. Okay, the price is already appreciated. Everybody in crypto knows about it. Okay, so you miss that advantage of buying it early when there are very few people to buy. Okay, next is limited tokens. Okay, not all tokens are available on exchange. Okay, now unlike stocks, like for example, if a stock is listed on NASDAQ or like somewhere, it's more or less available on all exchanges. There are very few stocks which are available only on TD Ameritrade and not available on Robinhood. Very few cases, but majority, 99%, are available on all exchanges in terms of, like, when it comes to stock. But in crypto, it's not like that. Okay, one token can be present in Coinbase. It might not be available on KuCoin. It might not be available on FTX exchange. Okay, or vice versa. Something could be available on KuCoin, but it might not be available on Coinbase, or vice versa. Okay, so every exchange, it decides what tokens to list, what tokens not to list. It's totally up to the exchange. There is no central authority for a project, because a project can belong to India, China. Like for example, if you want to list on if you want to list a stock on in US, then you need to follow SEC guidelines. There is a central authority which will monitor it. But in crypto, you don't have that. So that's why it's totally up to the exchange. They may list it, they may not list it. So you have very limited tokens. Not all tokens are available on all exchanges. Okay. Next is country-based limitations. Okay. Some tokens, again, this also comes under the limited tokens, but some tokens are limited based on country regulations. For example, take XRP. Okay, XRP you can buy. You cannot buy in any US exchanges. Why? Because SEC said like you cannot. There is a case going on. Okay, but the same token you can buy it on KuCoin. Okay, the same token you can buy it on like FTX.com. Okay, you can buy it on Binance. Okay, based on countries also there could be some limitations. Okay, you may be able to buy, you may not be able to buy. Okay, KYC requirements. Okay, in order to generally for any exchange, okay, any centralized exchange, you have to provide your customer details, like who are you, what is your government ID, where do you stay, maybe social security number, or like whatever is your country specific unique number. You have to provide all that information. Okay, so again, it's not a bad thing, but some people, you cannot be private. I mean, you cannot be anonymous. Okay, if you're buying on a centralized exchange, you cannot be anonymous. Okay. Next is you don't hold your keys. Means like if you remember, I told that all your assets, they're on your exchanges. You can withdraw, but if you keep it on the exchange, you don't have full control on it. So let's say they block your account, you cannot sell, buy, or do anything. Okay. Next is limited staking farming options. I'll talk about staking and farming. Okay, staking and farming are basically lending your crypto to earn money, earn interest or something like that. Okay, they're very limited options. Very few exchanges give you interest on your crypto. Okay, and again, they might provide you very limited rate. Like for example, if you see, there are exchanges which give you 20% return on your US like crypto version of US dollars. Okay, but if you see, there are very few exchanges which give you that interest rate. For example, in Coinbase, you get zero interest. Similar, but if you do it on Voyager, you get like 9% interest. But in the external world, you get up to 20%. So you have very limited options. You get interest or like rewards for holding your token on very limited exchanges. That too, the percentages are very less. Okay, so these are the disadvantages of your centralized exchanges. Okay, I hope everybody understood. Okay, there's a question. We can buy BTC in Cash App. It's a centralized exchange. Cash App, it's owned by Square. I'm sure you have to create a username, password, you have to provide your details and all that stuff. Only then it allows you to buy your BTC, right? So that's a centralized exchange. Okay. Now let's come to what is a decentralized exchange. I explained what is a decentralized exchange. There is no central authority. Okay. Nobody owns it, nobody controls it. Okay, for examples are Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, Quick Swap, Spirit Swap, Pangolin Exchange. Like there are hundreds. Okay, these are some of the examples. Okay, now what are the advantages? Like centralized exchanges are very easy to use. Like you can put you can buy with your local currency and all that stuff. There are so many advantages. Okay, maybe you have to provide your KYC details and all that stuff, but it's very easy. So why should I go with decentralized exchanges? Okay, first thing is you have full authority on your account. I mean, you don't create your username and password, but you do have something called a wallet. Okay, you have full authority on your wallet. Whatever assets are there, you have full control on it. Any day or night you can buy or sell. Okay, there is no restriction. Nobody can stop you from selling or buying. Okay, nobody can block your accounts. Okay, so you have full control. Okay, next, early access to new projects. So majority, 99.99% of your projects, if it is a new project, first it is listed on a decentralized exchange. Okay, because in order to list on a decentralized exchange, you don't need a lot of capital. Whereas in order to list on a centralized exchange, you need to invest a lot of capital. You need to pay a lot of fees to them. Okay, but that's not the case with decentralized exchange. So you get early access to new projects on a decentralized exchange. Okay. And almost all projects are available on a decentralized exchange. Okay. I mean, majority of the coins. Okay. So if you compare centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange, like not even 10% of the tokens are available on a centralized exchange. Okay. Whereas 90% of the tokens are available on decentralized exchanges. Okay. No KYC. You don't have to. You don't have to provide any KYC. Nobody needs to know who you are. Nobody knows who is buying, who is selling. You can be private. You can be anonymous. Okay, when you are trading on a decentralized exchange. Okay. Then again, allows you to stake, farm, loan. There are like different aspects. Like again, in crypto, it's not just about buying and selling. There are like so many other aspects. Okay, farming, staking. Okay, I'm going to talk about them in my upcoming sessions. Okay, so you can do all sorts of things. Okay, in a decentralized exchange. Okay, so these are the advantages. Like you have full control. You get like most of the projects are available on decentralized exchange. Okay, then you have early access to the projects. Okay, what are the cons? Okay, it's a steep learning curve. It's not easy. Okay, it's very confusing. Okay, most of the time people say, okay, this is okay, buy on this decentralized exchange, buy on that decentralized exchange, buy on this chain, buy on that chain. There are like so many terms. It's very confusing. Okay, I'm going to try to simplify them once I complete the differences. But you'll hear a lot of things. Okay, hey, it's on Polygon network. It's on like Binance Smart Chain. It's on Ethereum network. Or go to Uniswap. Go to PancakeSwap. So you'll hear it's very confusing. Okay. Okay. Check the contract. So like increase the slippage. So you'll hear a lot of things. Okay. In decentralized, you need to know a lot of things in order to trade successfully on decentralized exchange. Okay. So this learning curve is very steep. Next, so you have full control. You have your you control everything. Your account keys and everything are there with you. But if you lose the keys, all the money is gone. Nobody can help you. For example, if you forget your login and password for Robinhood, you can at least send an email to Robinhood customer support, and they will be able to restore your login and password after some verification. But let's say for a decentralized exchange, you created a wallet and you lost your keys. There is no one who can help you. Okay, your money is gone. So that's a very high risk. That's the one of the major reasons why people, people don't want to trade on this, because you need to keep safe your private keys, your wallets, and all that stuff. Okay. Next is it's like highly prone to scams. Okay, so people should know what they are doing. Okay, you cannot blindly connect to any exchange and start trading it. Okay, they can simply drain everything out of your wallet. Okay, so it's like highly prone to scams. You need to know which one is a scam, which one is not a scam. Okay, then it does not provide you any facility like limit orders. Like you cannot put a limit order, you cannot put a stop order. Like no, you cannot do all the stuff. I mean, they're slowly coming up, but as of now you have very limited options when it comes to putting limit orders. Like it's always spot. You buy at the spot, you sell at the spot. Okay, another thing is fees. Like fees are like variable. I mean, for example, some chains, the fees is very high. Like for example, on Ethereum, if you want to do a transaction, doesn't matter whether you're doing a $10 transaction or $10,000 transaction, you have to pay $100 to $150 as a transaction fee on Ethereum. Okay, but if you trade on some other exchanges, some other decentralized exchange, like some other chains, okay, you will have to pay like the fees is very less, 15 cents, 20 cents, like that. Okay, so the fee is variable depending upon what chain you are using. People need to know what chain it is and all that stuff. So you need to learn a lot of stuff. Okay, so those are the disadvantages of decentralized exchanges. Okay, I hope I answered. Like I try to explain centralized and decentralized exchanges. So I would like to take a few question and answers, because I want everybody to understand these differences. Then I can go and show you some trades, how to do it on a decentralized exchange. Okay, so let me go through some questions which I see here. Okay, how do you know which coin belongs to which chain? Yes, I am going to talk about that. I am going to explain. Is Binance has both centralized and decentralized? Yes, Binance has both centralized as well as decentralized exchange. Binance.com is a centralized exchange. Binance Smart Chain Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, Quick Swap. These are all on Binance Smart Chain, which are a decentralized exchange. Okay. Can a decentralized exchange shut down anytime? Doesn't matter to you, right? It doesn't matter to you. It like a decentralized exchange is like a shop. Okay. So you go into a shop. Okay. Let's take example of Walmart. You go into Walmart, you give your money, you buy your goods, you come back home. Now, does it matter to you if tomorrow that Walmart shuts down? It doesn't matter to you because you have your asset. Okay, so should not matter because decentralized exchange doesn't hold anyone's fund, right? If you buy also, the money is your asset is not staying on a decentralized exchange. Okay, it stays in your wallet. So it doesn't matter if tomorrow they shut down, nothing is going to happen. Nobody is going to lose money. Okay, again, we'll talk more. There are some concepts, okay, when we talk about staking and all that stuff, there you can lose, but generally for trading, it should not matter to you. Okay. One more con is network. Yeah, I spoke about the fees, right? So like depending upon what chain you are using, okay? So if you're using Ethereum, the fee is very high. If you're using Binance Smart Chain or Polygon or like some other thing, the fee is very low, okay? What is the most centralized app for? Okay, there is no app for all decentralized, one app which works for all decentralized exchange. I'm going to talk about that when I'm going to show you how to trade. I'm going to talk about different apps available to trade on decentralized exchanges. Cheapest option to deposit USDT to MetaMask. Okay, you can deposit USDT in multiple chains. So if you deposit USDT using Ethereum chain, it's going to be very costly. But some exchanges give you a way to exchange. To send USDT onto your MetaMask through Binance Smart Chain. Then you will have to pay like only like $1 or $2 fees. So depending on USDT is available on multiple chains. So which chain you are using to transfer to MetaMask determines the fee. Is it required to have a wallet for centralized exchange? Okay, you don't need a wallet for centralized exchange, but for a decentralized exchange, you definitely need a wallet. I'm going to talk about that. Okay. What is a chain? I explained you, right? Like, what is an ecosystem? What is an Android? What do you mean by an Android phone versus Apple phone? Apple has an Apple ecosystem, so it has its own ecosystem. Okay, it has its own operating system and all that stuff, right? You can only deploy the apps developed in certain, like for Android, you have to develop it on Android. Only then you can deploy in Google Play Store. Similarly, you have to develop an app in Mac OS. Only then you can deploy it on Apple chain. So that's a chain, like an operating system. In cryptocurrency, it's a chain. Are there any tokens, coins which are work on? Yes. Like there are most of the coins, like they try to put it on different chains depending upon the fee. Okay, I use MetaMask to get Seek. Fees was like $180. Why the fees are high? Okay, we'll talk about that. Why it is. Okay, again, that's where like you could have bought Seek with let's say like 50 cents fee, but you had to know that where to buy, how to buy. Okay, you need not have to pay $180 for Ethereum fee. Okay, I will show you. Seek, you gave me an example of Seek, right? I'll show you how to do. Okay, so I hope everybody understood. Now let me walk you through how do you trade using decentralized exchanges. So centralized exchanges, everybody know it's no different. You just create an account. You go into their account and you start trading like your stock. Okay, no different. Okay, that's why I'm not showing you anything for a centralized exchange. Okay, now the very first thing you need to know in order to trade on a decentralized exchange is something called a wallet. Okay, everybody in order to trade on a decentralized exchange, you need to have a wallet. Okay, so now what is a wallet? Okay, a wallet is a combination of two keys. One is called a public key, another is called a private key. Okay, whenever you create a wallet, okay, it'll give you two keys. One is a public key, one is a private key. Okay, public key is visible to everybody. You can give that information to everyone. Doesn't matter. Okay, it's visible to everyone. Private key, if you give your private key, then they have full control on your wallet. Okay, you never share your private key. You keep your private key stored in a very secure place. If you if you share your private key, it's gone, like all your money is gone. Okay, so you always secure your private key. Okay, so whenever you're creating a wallet, also they give you saying that, hey, please store this securely. Okay, so how do you create a wallet? Okay, there are many apps in order to create a wallet. Okay, very common among them are MetaMask is one, Trust Wallet is another. Then you have Coinbase Wallet. There's so many. There's so many. Okay, but if you talk about the top two, there are two wallets, two apps. One is MetaMask. Another is what do you say? The Trust Wallet. Okay, majority of the people, 80% of the people use MetaMask. There are 20% of the people use Trust Wallet. Okay, there are people who use Coinbase Wallet also. There are like so many other wallets coming up. Okay, but these two are the major wallets. Okay, now if I have one of these wallets, can I trade on any DEX? No, that's not the answer. No, you cannot. Okay, but you can trade on majority of the DEXs. Okay, again, when I say DEX, it's a decentralized exchange. Okay, so the very first thing everybody has to do in order to trade on a DEX, okay, you need to create a MetaMask wallet. Okay, just go to YouTube and simply say how to create a MetaMask wallet. It's a 5-minute job. Okay, I've shown that in my previous session also. It's like a 5-minute job in order to create a MetaMask wallet. Okay, so once you create a MetaMask wallet, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, so this, like if you see, for example, I created a test account. Okay, so if you see, I copy this. This is called a, let me open a notepad. So this, this alphanumeric thing, okay, again, is your wallet address. Okay, so this you need to know. This is a wallet address. Okay, now for this is a public key. Okay, if you remember, I told you that your wallet has a public and a private key. So this is the public key which is visible to everybody. Okay, now there is a private key. You should never share it with anybody. Okay, I'm not going to share my private key to anyone. Okay, so you have to keep it secure. So write it on a paper, multiple papers, and like store that paper elsewhere. Because if you lose your private key, your money is gone. Okay, no, doesn't matter 100,000, 200,000. Nobody in the world can help you retrieve your private key if you lose it. Okay, so it's very important. Before you put any money into your wallet, you have to make sure you store your private keys very securely. Okay, store it in multiple places. Okay, multiple places, multiple formats. Maybe you store it in your you store it on a paper, write it on a paper and put it there. Take a picture and put that picture in a hard drive somewhere and disconnect it from the internet. Like different people store it differently. Whatever you feel secure, put it that. Okay, so this is called the wallet address. So this is a very common thing. Oh, hey, give me your wallet address. Okay, people ask you like, okay, if they have to transfer the funds or if you have to move the funds from one place to another, you have to, you need to know your wallet address. Okay, that's very important. So how do you get, like, as soon as you create a MetaMask wallet, it'll give you your wallet address. Okay, and there is a private key which you need to store it in one place. Okay, now okay, now that I have created a wallet, okay, now how do I trade? Okay, now you have created a wallet. Okay, now the wallet can belong to a specific chain. Okay, whenever you create a wallet, okay, you can use that particular wallet to trade on multiple chains. Okay, so it's the same wallet, I can use it on Ethereum chain. Same wallet I can use it on I can use it on a Binance Smart Chain. Same wallet I can use it on a different wallet, a different chain. Okay, so you also need to know what are different chains. Okay, so for now, just let's take 3 chains. 3 chains are very important now. Okay, one is Ethereum, another is Binance Smart Chain, another you can say Polygon. Okay, let's say these are the 3 chains. Okay, so again, by default, whenever you create your MetaMask wallet, it will create a Ethereum wallet. By default, you will have an Ethereum wallet. Okay, you need to go and add other wallets, other chains. Like for example, if you want to add Binance Smart Chain or like some other chain, you can add something called a network, and you can just Google how do I add a Binance Smart Chain to MetaMask. Okay, it will give you all the information. Okay, all you have to do is like add network. Okay, click on add network and give the network name. So all this information, what is RPC URL, what is the chain ID, what is the chain symbol, what is the block explorer, they will you can search on Google. So let's say you want to add Binance Smart Chain. Okay, so I'll simply say how to add Binance Smart Chain to MetaMask. Okay, so you can simply like click on the link. They will give you all the information. Okay, so so go to settings, add a new chain. So if you see this is the information you need to fill. Okay, so RPC URL is so and so, chain ID is so and so, BNB like symbol is BNB, block explorer is this one. So all you add all that information here and click on save. Similarly, if somebody says, hey, that is available on Polygon chain, same thing. You simply go to Google and say how to add Polygon chain to MetaMask. Same thing. They will also give same information. What is the chain ID? What is the symbol? What is the RPC URL? What is the scan URL? They will give all that stuff. You just need to add. Okay. So if you like, there are, as I said, there are multiple chains. By default, whenever you add, you will get a Ethereum chain by default is added to your system. Okay. But if you want to add more, you need to do it manually. Okay. So if you see my MetaMask, okay, I have like so many chains I've added. Okay, these are all different chains. Okay. As you go, like I also started with only like one chain, then I added another chain, then I added another chain, then I added another chain. So as you go, as you learn more and more, you will know like what is each chain, how do I transact with that and all that stuff. Okay, for now, for people who are new, I would suggest them to add Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum and Polygon network. These are the three chains I strongly suggest everybody to add. It doesn't take more than 10 minutes to install MetaMask, create a wallet and add all these three chains. Okay. So now the interesting part. Okay. Now, how do I know? Let's say let's say you get a signal from me or someone else. Okay. Hey, go and buy Seek. Okay. Seek is a good token. Now it is like 50 cents. It can go to $5. Let's say you got some information. Okay. Somebody told you and you want to buy. Okay. So how do I know where to buy? How to buy? Okay. So very first thing, this is a very common question everybody asks. Okay. There are two websites, CoinGecko.com and CoinMarketCap.com. Okay. So these are your gateways to figure out the information. Okay. So go to any site, go to one of these sites, CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap.com. Okay. There is a search. Okay. So let's search Seek. Okay. Seek VR. Okay. Click on this. Okay. Search for that particular token. Okay. So here is the token information. Okay. So now if you see, it will tell you on how many chains it is available. So if you see, this is a symbol of Ethereum chain. So this is the Ethereum symbol. So it's available on two chains. Okay. It's available on Ethereum. Okay. And it's available on Binance Smart Chain. Okay. So now on Ethereum chain, the fees is very high. Even if you want to buy, let's say $100 worth of Seek, you will have to pay $150 worth of fees. Okay. The same thing, if you want to buy it on Binance Smart Chain, you might pay only like 10 cents or 15 cents. Okay. So where would you buy? You would always buy it on Binance Smart Chain. Why do you want to pay $150 or $160 fees? Okay. So very first thing is you need to know, as soon as somebody gives you a token, you need to go to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and figure out, hey, where is this available? Which chain it is available? Oh, it's available on Ethereum. It's available on Binance Smart Chain. Okay, I'll buy it on Binance Smart Chain. Okay. So now, how do you go and figure out like, oh, how do I buy? Which exchange, which decentralized exchange I can use in order to buy this? Okay. So just scroll down. Okay, just scroll down. It gives like all the information, like what is your token price, what charts and all that stuff, and it'll give you a market. Okay. So if you see here, this tells you where it's available, it gives you both centralized as well as decentralized exchange. It is giving you all the information. Okay. Now, how do I know which one is centralized exchange, which is a decentralized exchange? It's just based on experience. Okay. I know this is MEXC Global, Gate.io, Bitget, Who.com. These are all centralized exchanges. Okay. PancakeSwap is a decentralized exchange. I know that. Okay. So now, let's say I don't have any of the, I don't have any exchange, any account for this particular exchange. Now, how do I buy on PancakeSwap? Okay. Now, so PancakeSwap, if you see, it's a Binance Smart Chain. Again, how do I know PancakeSwap is a Binance Smart Chain DEX? It's again based on experience. Okay. Another way of figuring out is like generally, if you see BNB, okay, BNB is a Binance Smart Chain coin. So in order to buy on, if some exchange is listed as like Seek, you can buy Seek with BNB. That means it's a Binance Smart Chain. Okay. So another important thing. On a decentralized exchange, you cannot buy with USD or INR or like any of your fiat currencies. You cannot buy. Okay, the currency is different. Okay, every chain has a different currency. For example, on a Binance Smart Chain, you can only buy with Binance Smart Chain related currencies. On a Ethereum Smart Chain, you can only buy with Ethereum based currencies. Okay, so that's another disadvantage of a decentralized. You cannot buy with USD, INR, Canadian dollars, or whatever may be the fiat currency. Okay, so now how do I like? Okay, now I want to buy Seek. Okay, now how do I buy? Okay, I just create an account and I have like zero balance. Okay, so what you do is okay. So first, you know that it is on Binance Smart Chain. So first you need to go and add your network. Okay, I've already added. So I'll simply switch to that network. Okay. I'll simply switch to that network. Okay. Now, in order to buy, okay, here, I have put 0.25. I created a test account and I just put 0.25 BNB because it's going to take some time if I have to transfer live. Okay. But how do I get the money into, my wallet? Okay, so from any centralized, first you need to go use your USD and buy it on any exchange. Okay, so from that particular exchange, okay, you will go and withdraw into your account. Okay, that is where your wallet address comes into picture. Okay, for example, okay, I need to know where I need to send. Okay, what is my wallet address so that I can deposit the money there. Okay, so let me just go to. I think I have KuCoin. Let me just try to show you. Okay, I don't have KuCoin open. Let me open KuCoin. Okay, so let me just show you how you transfer from there. Where does your wallet address come into picture? Okay, so okay, I need to log in. Just give me a minute. I'll just stop my screen share and I'll log in and I will show you. Okay. Okay. Bear with me. There are a lot of security stuff one needs to answer. Almost done. Okay, I am logged in. Let me share my screen. coming up. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, Rajesh.
Okay, right. So this is my KuCoin account. Okay. So how do I transfer? Okay. So first thing is like, okay, what do I want? BNB in order to trade on this. Okay. I need BNB. So I will, let's say I want BNB. Okay. So I'll select my asset here. Okay. And then it'll ask me, okay, hey, how do you want to transfer? Hang on. Okay. Okay. So BNB. Okay. You select the address. Okay. See here, it's asking you your wallet address. Okay. So that is where you will give your wallet address. Okay. So here I'll copy this. I'll put it here. Okay. Now here it is asking, what is the network or the chain? Okay. So luckily, for Binance Smart Chain, like you have only you have like both these chains work. Okay. But for some other assets, you will have like multiple chains. Okay. That will determine your network. Okay. For example, I select Binance Smart Chain. Okay. And here I can specify the amount and whatever remarks I can give. Okay. If you see, the fee is 0.01 BNB. Okay, 1 BNB is like $500. So 0.01 is close to $5. Okay, it's not a lot of fee to transfer your assets. Okay, doesn't matter how much you transfer, it's always 0.01. But let's say I want to transfer USDT. Okay, let me show you another asset where it's like huge. You have to pay. It could be available in multiple chains. Okay, so let's say I want to transfer USDT. Okay, so if you see here, there are multiple chains. Okay, there are multiple chains. So let's say I can transfer it to the same account, but if I select ERC20, okay, so it will come to my Ethereum address. Okay, and now let's see like what is the fee. So if you see, the fee is 35 USDT. So if I want to get it into my Ethereum chain, it is costing me $35. Okay, let me select a different chain. Okay, for example, Tron chain. Okay, this again, I gave you an example of like only Binance Smart Chain and this. Okay, so for example, KuCoin chain or Tron, the fee is very, very less. Okay. So if you see KCC chain, this is another chain. Okay, the fee is only $0.1. So where is $35 and where is $0.1? Okay, so whenever you're transferring, okay, you have to make sure where you are transferring. Okay, for example, if I transfer money, if I transfer USDT into Ethereum, now you will not see that money in Binance Smart Chain. You have to switch your chain to Ethereum, only then it will see. You will see. Okay, so if you see here. See, if you see here, my account number is the wallet address is same, but here it is 0 ETH, means I don't have anything in Ethereum. But the moment I switch my wallet chain, Binance Smart Chain, I will see my assets in Binance Smart Chain. So the wallet address is same, depending upon depending upon what chain you are, where you are transferred, that is where your assets will stay. Okay, I hope I was clear on how to transfer to multiple chains. Okay, so now let's go to trading. Okay, so now I have like BNB or USDT, whatever I want to transfer in order to buy the specific token I have. Okay, sometimes, okay, now there might be a question saying, hey, here it says, seek WBNB, means in order to buy seek, I need WBNB. Okay, but Rajesh, we transferred BNB. We have like something called BNB in our wallet. Okay, it's not WBNB. Okay, so W is called wrapped, so should not matter whether you have BNB or WBNB. It both are same. Once it comes into this chain, it becomes wrapped BNB. So even if you have something with W and in your wallet it doesn't show W, it's okay. Okay, so now I have BNB. Now I can buy Seek. Okay, so now how do I buy in PancakeSwap? Okay, so I go to, so it says it's available on PancakeSwap, right? So I go to PancakeSwap, PancakeSwap.finance. Okay, now I click on trade, exchange. Okay, here let me disconnect and connect. By default, this is how it will look like. Okay, the moment you open this, okay, it'll say connect wallet. Okay, so if your MetaMask is already installed, you click on connect wallet. Okay, it'll ask you, hey, what wallet you want to connect. Okay, so as I told you, like there are so many wallets, but Trust Wallet and MetaMask wallets, these two are very common. Okay, so I say mine is MetaMask wallet, so I select MetaMask. Okay, so it will automatically so if you see on my MetaMask wallet, this account is there, automatically it connected. So if you see it's ending with 54, it's ending with 54. Okay, so now, and if you see automatically it shows my BNB balance how much, 0.25. So if you see here, my BNB balance was 0.25. Okay, so now I want to buy Seek. So how do I buy Seek? Okay, how do I tell? Okay, so most of the people what they will do is they will type like this and search for the coin. Okay, it's not a bad thing, but there could be scams. There could be two tokens with the same CEK, so you don't know which token. Okay, there are scammers always. Anybody, like in 10 minutes I can create my token and list it on Binance Smart Chain. Okay, with the same symbol CEK. Okay, so people who are thinking Seek, they might buy my token instead of the original Seek token. So how do you make sure that you are buying the real token and not the duplicate ones? Okay, so for that, what you need to do is see on the same CoinGecko. Okay, there is something called a contract address. So if you see here, this is the Ethereum chain contract address and this is the Binance Smart Chain contract address. Okay, so first you always copy this, okay, contract. Okay, and then you go into here, and instead of searching for Seek, you search with the contract. Automatically it will bring up this. Okay, so based on the contract it will bring. So that's how you know that you are buying the real Seek token. Okay, so I got the Seek token. Now it shows like how I have like 0.25 BNB and I have zero balance in Seek. So how much I want to buy? Okay, you can type whatever amount. Let's say, see, 1 BNB is like around $500. Let's say I want to buy for let's say $50. Okay, which is 0.1 BNB. So I type 0.1. Okay, so how many tokens am I getting? It's telling, hey, you will get 93 tokens. Okay, around the same, right? Because it's around 52-53 cents. So for like $50, I'm getting 93 tokens. So if you are okay, you click on swap. Okay, let me just click on swap. Okay, so it'll open up your wallet. Okay, it'll ask for your confirmation. Okay, at the time when it is giving your confirmation, it's going to tell you how much fees it is. Okay, so if you see, it says the fees is 0.0016 BNB. It works out to be like 1,000th of a BNB, somewhere around 50 cents. Okay, so it's telling, hey, this is the max, this is the fee you will have to pay. Okay, so to a user who said like he paid $180, okay, to buy Seek. But see, if you have bought it on Binance Smart Chain, how much fee are you paying? 0.001 BNB, which is like 50 cents. Okay, so if I like the fee and all that stuff, I click confirm. Okay, before I confirm, I want to show you some more things. Okay, okay. Now here, so you see something called slippage tolerance. Okay, so you can set this particular slippage tolerance manually. Okay, so why is this? Where is this useful? Okay, some tokens. Okay, so basically, what is a slippage tolerance is the price is always changing, right? See, for anything, for a stock or anything, the price is always changing. And if you remember, I said there are no limit orders on your DEXs. So when you click on swap and by the time you really purchase, there might be some difference. Like it can go up 1%, it can go up or it can go down. Okay, so basically slippage tolerance, what it is asking is, so let's say I'm giving like 94 tokens. Okay, how much variance is acceptable to you? Okay, so let's say it's saying 94, but when you actually purchase, it gave you 50. That's cheating, right? I mean, you don't, if it said only 50, you're going to get 50 tokens for 0.1 BNB. You don't want to buy. Okay, so it's asking you what is the slippage. Okay, so 1% slippage is okay. Say, for example, it's saying 94, but even if you get 93 or 95, you're okay. Okay, so that is a slippage tolerance. You can specify, hey, if it is within this range only, like purchase. If the difference is like more than 2% or 3%, don't purchase. You can set your slippage tolerance. Okay, so you will see, like, most of the time people say, hey, I'm not able to purchase. Okay, it says I cannot purchase. So that's majority of the times the slippage is more, means the fluctuations are too high. That's why it's not able to buy. So people will ask you to go and increase your slippage. So if you see, there is a settings icon, you can click on that. Okay, so here your slippage tolerance, you can give 0.1%, 0.5%, or like you can specify your own 10, 20, 30, whatever it is. Okay, for example, if I give 10% tolerance, means even if a 10% difference between what you're showing and what I'm going to get, I'm okay. Okay, you can specify that. Okay, next, this is the transaction speed. Okay, so a lot of people will be trying to buy. Okay, so if you want your transaction to be executed fast, you can specify the transaction fees. The higher the speed you give, the higher the fees you pay. Understood? So sometimes, when there are a lot of transactions and a lot of people are using it, they say chain is slow, increase your speed. That means they're simply saying increase the speed. Okay, so if you increase the speed, it will increase your fees. You will pay more fee. Okay, slippage is what tolerance you want to give. Okay, so let's say like I put 10. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, I'll show you the difference. Okay, so if you see here, it is saying for 0.1 BNB, ideally I should get 94, but what it is telling is, hey, minimum you will receive 85, because I said 10% tolerance. So even if my price changes suddenly, by the time I click swap and by the time I purchase, if there is a difference of 10%, also the protocol will buy for me. But whereas if I put my slippage tolerance as 1%, but the price increases or decreases by 10%, it will not buy for me. So that is where your slippage comes into picture. Okay, so so unless until specified by someone tells you that to increase the slippage tolerance, always keep the slippage tolerance to 1. Okay. And always transaction speed for the Binance Smart Chain is 6 is good enough. You should be able to buy. Okay. So now if you see, I made the slippage tolerance to 1. So now if you see here, only if I get at least 93 SEEK tokens only, then it will buy for me. If I get less than 93.6, it will not buy for me, because my slippage, I have said only 1% tolerance I'm allowed. Okay. So now I click on swap. Okay, it'll open up this thing. Okay. Okay, so here, so it's giving, okay, this much is my buy amount, this much is the fee, total is this much. Okay, and here also you can increase your speed. Okay, for example, I click on edit here. Okay, so edit suggested gas fee. Okay, so see here, gas price, so it's giving me that. Okay, I can increase the GWA. If you remember, 6 was the value. Okay, let's say I put 10. Okay, if you see, my price will, if you see, my price increased from 0.00, it was 0.0010 something, but now it's 0.00177, because I increased the speed. I am saying like, hey, first execute my transaction. Okay, so you can increase the speed here also. Okay, so but 6 is good enough. Okay, so if you see here, the moment I put 6, my fees reduced. Okay, so that's how you control your fees. Okay, so let me simply go ahead and confirm. Okay, so now I placed my order to buy at least, it will try to buy me at least 93 SEEK tokens for 0.1 BNB. Okay, successful. It says, okay, your transaction receipt, it has completed and it's successful. Okay, so you can always go, like, click on this and you can see your transaction. Okay, it will tell you all the information. What tokens did you buy? Okay, how many tokens you got, how much it is, and all that. Okay, so for example, for 0.1 BNB, I got 94 SEEK tokens. And what is the fee I paid? 41 cents. Okay, So this is public record. This is available anytime. Okay. So if you remember, when setting up the chain, there was something called scan URL. Scan URL was one of the parameters. Okay, that is nothing but BSC scan. This was the value of the, okay. So you can view your transaction. Okay. Not only this, not only your current transaction, you can view all your transactions. Okay, at any, even if you've done a transaction 5 years back, you can view. Okay, all you need to do is copy your account, go to BSC scan, bscscan.com, paste it here, click. Okay, it'll give you your entire history. Okay, see, this is my wallet address. This is the BNB wallet balance I have. This is my BNB value. And what are the tokens I have? I have Seek tokens. How many Seek tokens I have? 94 Seek tokens, and the worth is 49.8. Okay, and these are my transactions which I have done. Okay, so just before the training, I transferred the amount. So I transfer in. Okay, then I swapped. Okay, for using PancakeSwap, I swapped. Okay, if you click on the transaction hash, it'll give you the transaction. Okay, so this information. So this is meant by blockchain. When people say, hey, blockchain is public, okay, that means everybody can. If I just know the transaction, your wallet address, I can search it. This is public information. Anybody can see. Okay, so that's how you buy on a decentralized exchange. Okay, now if you want to sell, how do same? Sell also is same. Let me again go back to PancakeSwap. So let's say I want to sell now. Okay, so I'll just sell means like I put Seek above. Okay, and I put BNB below. Okay, so for I am selling Seek in order to get BNB, or you can select a different currency. Let's say, for example, you want USDT. Okay, you want USDT. Okay, you can select USDT. So basically, what you're telling is, hey, I want to sell my Seek and get USDT. Okay. So again, you click on this. You see it. Okay, wait, hang on. I just swapped. Okay. So in order to sell, this is what I need to do. Okay. So when you are selling first time, you need to enable Seek. So that will be one transaction, and then you can sell the remaining. Okay. So I'll enable it. Again, it will be a transaction for me. Okay, 15 cents is my fee for the transaction. Click. It's enabling. Okay. It should end. Now I can swap. Okay. So if I swap, I click on swap. Okay. Okay, let's say, let me just show you one more thing I want to show you. Hang on. Let me not sell everything. Let me sell 50 swap, 50 tokens only. Okay. I'll tell you why. Okay. I swap. Okay. Now it will sell my 50 Seek, and I will get USDT. Okay. It says it's done. Let's go and check. Still, it has not yet returned to the database. Okay, done. Okay, so I got $26. And how much is the fees I paid? I paid 62 cents. Okay, so now what I have is, I have some BNB, I have some what do you say, Seek, I have some USDT. Okay, I have all three tokens. Okay, so I can always look at that. Okay, this is my wallet, right? So if I click on the wallet, here it will show me. Okay, so this is the BNB balance, and if you see here, it shows two tokens. One token is Seek, another token is US dollars. Okay, so now, but if you come here, okay, let's see. So this is my account, right? But if you see assets, it only like, okay, automatically see it shows here. Okay, it's showing Seek, but I'm not able to see USDC. So it shows me only 2 assets. Okay, so most of the time what you need to do is you need to add your asset to, it's there in your wallet. All you need to do is you need to import the tokens. Okay, so so don't panic if you don't see your asset in in your MetaMask. Don't panic. All you need to do is you need to import the tokens. Okay, so what is the token which I need to import? I don't see USDT. That's what I write. This is the one. Okay. This is the token which is showing in my wallet, but it's not showing in my MetaMask. Okay, so for every token there is something called a contract. Okay, so you need to take that contract and add. Okay, so copy the contract. Okay, and go to your assets, click on import token. Okay, and here paste your token contract. Automatically it will fill up. If the contract is right, it will fill up the other ones. Add the token. So if you see USDT 26. So now go back to your wallet and click on assets. Now you see I have BNB, I have Seek, I have USDT, all the three. Okay, I hope things were clear on how to do transactions on a decentralized exchange. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to take some questions. Okay.
Yeah, Rajesh, just a pointer. It's 3:11, 1 hour 10 minutes. So,
okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you covered the entire thing as per your plan. But
yeah, that's all. I wanted to cover like decentralized versus centralized, and I wanted to show some transactions so people know. I'll take I'll take a few questions and then
okay,
we can be done for the day.
Okay, thank you, Rajesh.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just go through the questions whatever are here. Okay. Okay. Can you buy BNB directly in a wallet? No, you cannot. You cannot buy. I think I told you, like, you cannot buy BNB directly in your wallet. You definitely need to buy in a centralized thing. Okay. Looks like too complicated process to buy and sell. Can we use just a phone to buy? Yeah, you can install MetaMask on your phone and you can buy and sell. Okay. So it's just a matter of like from where you are using. Okay. How do you transfer coins between chains? Okay, yeah, in order to transfer between chains, there are something called bridges. Okay, there is something called a bridge. Okay, which will transfer from one chain to another chain. So that's a more advanced topic. If you see, I have covered that in my list of topics. We'll cover that in ongoing sessions. Okay. How does the slippage work? Slippage works the same way as whether the price goes up or goes down. The slippage works the same way. Okay. So for example, if you say 1% slippage, so even if the price falls down, okay, more than 1%, protocol is not going to buy because you said 1% slippage, whether it's on the upside or the downside. Okay. Under what condition does the investment value of when does the stock go down? Depends on how the performance of the stock, right? Same crypto also same as stocks. If the company performs, like the token performs well, the project performs well, the token price will go up. If it doesn't, then it goes down. Can you see all the tokens in MetaMask? Yes, I just showed you. You can. What if I can? If we don't see tokens in wallet that we purchase and forget what all tokens we have in our wallet, you can see. You need, if you take the token address and put it in the Binance scan or like whatever is your chain scan, it will show you all the tokens, whatever are available. Okay. And there are so many other sites. Okay. So zapper.fi. Okay. Connect your wallet. It will show you your tokens across all the chains. Okay. Whether you have it in Ethereum chain, Matic chain, whatever it is, it will show all the tokens. Okay. There are so many sites. Some tips on how to see. The thing is, right now, the only network which has high fee is Ethereum. Okay, so don't trade on Ethereum. Whatever tokens are available on Ethereum should be available on Binance Smart Chain. So you buy it on Binance Smart Chain. Don't use Ethereum. How do we identify if the project is real or not fake with no underlying fundamentals? What research is recommended? Okay, say for example, somebody says, hey, on OTC XYZ stock is good. Okay, how do you do research? Same, go to their website. In crypto, Twitter. Okay, follow the Twitter page on that. Read the comments on, like, how active they are on Twitter and what are the people saying about that product. Okay, are they happy? Are they jealous? Every token will have a Telegram. Okay, so go into the Telegram. Okay, see what people are saying. What are the announcements? Go through their website. What are the what are their upcoming things? Okay, what are the upcoming events? What are they planning to do? What is their roadmap? Okay, so as you research stock, how the company for a stock you research the company. For a crypto also you research the token. Okay, so first Twitter, then Telegram, then their website. If a token isn't centralized, it's good to take in Binance. See, it totally depends upon your preference. Okay, for example, some people they might want to trade easily, so they prefer centralized exchange. Some people they say like, oh, no, any given point of view, it should be in my wallet. I don't want to keep anything in exchange, so they might go with Binance Smart Chain. It's up to you. I bought Seek on Ethereum chain. Can transfer to Binance Smart Chain? Yes, you can do. There is something called a bridge. Okay, but again, that is also a lot of fees. So make just before bridging, sending Seek from Ethereum chain to Binance chain, just make sure how much fee you have to pay and then transfer. Okay, can we transfer token from Webull? No, Robinhood has not enabled transfers. That's a centralized exchange, so it has not done. So you cannot transfer. Sorry, I lost connection on my answer. Yeah, basically what I'm saying is you just paste your wallet. Go and paste your wallet in the scan. Okay, for example, BSC scan or Ethereum scan. Go and paste your wallet address and search for your wallet address. It will show you all the tokens that are present. Okay. Or another good site is I just said I don't. There are like so many sites. Okay. I just told about a site. It's on my mouth. I'm not remembering, but Zapper.fi. Okay, go to Zapper.fi and connect your wallet. Okay, it will show you all your coins across all the tokens. Under what conditions would one transfer coins from one chain to another? Okay, depends, right? Let's say you have 10,000 Seek. Okay, and you want to sell it in 5 tranches. Okay, so at $1 you want to send, at $2 you want to sell some, at $3 you want to sell some. Okay, so if you do it on Ethereum, you have to pay Ethereum fees 5 times, like 150, 150, 150, 150, 750 you have to pay on fees. But what you will do is instead of that, you will transfer it to Binance Smart Chain, and every time you do every time you sell, you pay 50 cents instead of 100 cents, instead of like $150. Okay. That's how you depends how you want to trade. Okay. How do you do tax reporting for tax filing? Okay, there are so many tax softwares. You can simply you can give the wallet address to the tax software and it will calculate the gains and losses, and that take that report and file it in your file it to IRS. Okay, there are so many softwares. All you need is you just need to give the wallet address to that software and it will tell you how much, what is the profit, what is the loss, and all that stuff. Do you have to connect to VPN to buy tokens? Some centralized exchanges you would need. Okay, for example, Huobi, KuCoin, not KuCoin, Huobi, FTX.com. Okay, they will ask you, for example, if you connect with US, they might say like you're not allowed or something like that. So you might have to use VPN. But I would say, if you use a VPN, that means, you are trading in something which is not allowed. And I don't know, you have to report the taxes. So I don't know how that is going to work. So I don't suggest, you trade in any exchange which is not allowed in US. Or what you can do is, if you have your brother or someone in India, okay, then he can trade on your behalf. You can do that. Okay, but I would say, like, whatever, if you are in US, follow what are the US guidelines, be safe. Could you give a name? Acointing.com. Okay. acointing.com. I just pinged you in the chat. Okay, there are so many. Again, that is what I have used last year. But use whatever is cheaper. Sorry, no, not accounting. Acointing. It's autocorrect. Okay. Yeah, not accounting. It was autocorrecting. So acointing. Okay. Any more questions?
I think great session, Rajesh. Thank you. Definitely, I mean, it was very interesting to know. Maybe who has been doing from long time for them might be a known info. Definitely, really helpful. Definitely you see a lot of appreciation as well from many folks. Also, we have Sai. I'm going to let him unmute and speak few words. Sai, yeah. I tried. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do, Sai.
Yeah, guys, whoever have joined here today, I see at least 70 people have joined despite of the long weekend to embrace, our knowledgeable hero, Rajesh. Has been researching for almost 7 years, I would think. And he has been mastering the knowledge and the information. As you all know, the crypto is a new concept, right, in the investing universe. So if we can learn early stages and if we can invest, we can build wealth. That's, unquestionably possible. Just like any other stocks, if you are early, then you are making a lot of wealth. For example, Tesla or whatever, these stocks, if you are early. So the same is possible over here. I know I realize, off late too, I haven't invested in the past years, but I just started at least. Let us take the advantage of investing early. I know there are a lot of challenges in the crypto universe because so much confusion is there, all that stuff. I think that's what our, Rajesh is addressing and giving us, thorough knowledge of where to invest, how to invest, what are the challenges, what are the dangers, all the perils and all that stuff. So let us take the advantage of learning the system, understanding the concepts behind the, cryptocurrency and see how we can slowly build a wealth using the crypto too. This is the diversification, right? Stocks, real estate, home or land or whatever. This is one of the diversification method I would see it instead of putting all eggs in one basket. It's no brainer, right? Because you never know which one will flourish. So let's take small chunk of our money and start investing into crypto too and see what advantages we can take. But the lessons we learned in the past is always have a clear plan of what is your investment goal, right? I'm investing $1,000 on X coin. So what is my downside capability? This is where we really failed in the past in the stock market universe. I would let's take the lessons from it. Let us not wait too long to fall it, or let us not wait too long to miss the profit. So whatever that is, whether it's a crypto, stocks, options, it doesn't matter, real estate. Let us have a clear goal. Okay, how far I can take the downside, 20%, 15%. When you reach that point, don't wait. Just pull the trigger. It's okay, even if, whatever that 15% you miss it or lost it, instead of you missing 70%, 60%, right? Or in the same way, in the profit too, if it reaches to certain extent, let's not be greedy. Let's take advantage of the profit. And, if you have whatever the plan is you take off half or 1/4 or whatever it is. So that way, I think we can do a lot of wonders is what I learned personally. I will share my experiences more. Not in the crypto. Crypto I only bought. I haven't really executed any strategy yet. I'm still, learning on that part. But I think regardless of stocks or crypto, the concepts will be the same is what I feel. So let us learn and let us apply what we learn from it. And every one of you share your failures more than your success. As APJ Kalam sir says, one can learn more from the failures than success stories. So let us publish our failure stories. Let us not be afraid. Let's not worry, if I fail it, what will others think? Or what will happen to Thinxia growth? I don't really care. Whether someone judging me by my failure, let it be. I don't care about it. I want to know what my failures are. how I can be successful going forward. That is our goals. Let us take the courage and admit our failures, and let us work collectively how we can make it more successful. Your failure can be an advantage for me to learn and not to do the same mistake. Right? So let us go in a different journey, guys. I mean, let us go to a different journey. We are not trying to impress somebody just by sugarcoating it. No, we don't want to do that. We have a true passion. We have a true willingness. We have a true desire, a burning desire to build wealth in a righteous direction. That is why we have so many volunteers here. Rajesh is here. He's a volunteer, honestly. We are not in a position to honor to anybody. As you are know, we are struggling to meet our monthly operation expenses. There's so many people are volunteering in our system in ThinkSabio because they believe in our goals. They believe in our vision. So let us build the system. Let us everyone have an opportunity to grow and take this to the next level. That's all I wanted to add. I know you didn't expect me talking, but I never stop talking. Let us take the lessons, team. Let us work together. Let us not finger point anybody. Let us take constructive path. Let us have a collective disagreements. If somebody is saying something, no, I don't agree with that. And give your logical reasoning, not just to make fun of it, but give me critical logical reasoning why I think this would not work. Not that everything I say or Rajesh say or Danu says or someone says is going to be a golden path. No, take the courage to give a constructive disagreement. I would not think this will work, but here are the reasons. Let us have a constructive disagreements and fight for it in a constructive path and see what merits we have or what demerits do we have in taking this approach. Then we will be an unstoppable in building the wealth. Yes, we can build the wealth. I'm telling you, I have no knowledge about stock market. We have proven that we can build the wealth. We have proven it absolutely by following the right system. Not that I'm lucky or not that, whatever it is. Those are all, different stories, but there is a possibility, there is an opportunity for us to build wealth in any of these markets because we have data. We have, strong financial institutions in the stock market. But of course, in the crypto journey too, we're exploring what are all the reliable data that we can get. We are doing a lot of research too. So we'll make this very simple as well, just like stock market. We will work collectively. That's where we want all of your inputs. Let us build and let us take pride in building a simple, most reliable system. Okay, thank you guys. That's all I wanted to add. And thank you so much for joining despite of the long weekend. The knowledge is powerful. It can't go wrong. So let us take it and let us build it and let us enjoy with our families and let us do some charity back home and uplift somebody who is really needing a financial assistance to further their education. Yes, we can make a difference. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Sai. Yeah, Rajesh, if you have any comments.
Hey, I don't know how many of you are following the alerts. At least from what I see, if you see, if I give an alert, I'm following up with, when to take profits, okay, when to exit out of the position and when to get in. And at least my point of view, I've given at least trades. Some of our tokens, we earn anywhere between 20 to 50%. So I'm being very, very safe. If I see 10 opportunities, I'm filtering out and I'm giving you only the two best opportunities with very low risk. Okay. There could be some tokens. If you see, I always give, to buy a token in multiple tranches, and I'm asking you to buy it up to a certain point. Okay. So far, we have hit the, we are within our range. We never went below, not many tokens went below my buy price, whatever I have given. And if you're sold and if you've averaged, I've given you sell calls also. So I would really like to know, if somebody has profited, I would like to know, you don't have to tell me, how much you made and all that stuff, but if you let us know, hey, I was able to, follow the trade, I was able to gain something out of this trade, that would be helpful. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Sai, and also everyone who joined today. Definitely, yeah, it's our weekend. take this knowledge out, and then we can improvise for our further study or whatever, even investment, etc. I know not many can speak, although some might be wishing to speak. I don't know who it is, so we will end this session right here. Thank you all, whoever joined, and see you all. Actually, tomorrow we have another session. That's for new joinees. Whoever has listened my story a few times, same repeated tape, don't worry. You can stop, but otherwise, yes, please do join. That will help you to learn more about the website, and any constructive discussion also we can do on that call. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day and weekend. Bye.